Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. We'll wait just a moment as the people from the waiting room load in. All right. Well, happy Sunday again. So wonderful to see you all. Not sure where you are in the world, but here in the Northeast, we've had quite a diversity of weather, from snow to ice and sleet to now rain. It was very confusing. And for me, it's been a fun metaphor of we always think we can know what's coming, right? Snowing, okay, I'm going to prepare for snow. No, now it's ice. Nope, now it's sleet. Nope, now it's rain. And it was a reminder to me of how much I'm always seeking to know, and always seeking um, to rid myself of uncertainty, including the weather. So it's like, and unfortunately, unless you have some magical powers, none of us can know. All we can do is be in the moment and be responsive to the moment. So anyhow, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelly Amadei, longtime practitioner, longtime student of Dzogchen and Lama Surya Das, and have the privilege and the honor to lead you today in practice. So why don't we start by arriving. And even if this is all you do, for however long you're able to stay with us this morning, even if all you do is just re-arrive over and over, you are doing it. We put so much pressure on ourselves to do this right, and so much of what we're doing here is just being. So I invite you to be. I bow to the Buddha in your seat. As Lama would say, don't overlook them. And I'll add, don't forget that they're always there. Our Buddha nature never leaves us. Why don't we start with some aspirations for our practice today? Do the 4 immeasurable aspirations. And even as you're reading these words or merely listening to these words, allow each word to mean something. Allow each word to be deeply intended from the center of your being. May all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy, which is free from suffering. May all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity, beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. And the four dharmas of Gampopa and Longchenpa. Bless and empower us that our minds and hearts turn toward the Dharma. Bless and empower us that our Dharma practice becomes the path. Bless and empower us that the path truly dispels confusion. Bless and empower us that confusion itself dawns as primordial awareness. And this is why we're here. Right? The essence of why we're here. For confusion to dawn as awareness. To bring love and compassion to ourselves and to all beings. To wish well for the world. And at our basic biological level, we are conditioned beings. And for those of you who've been here before, you hear me talk about this a lot. And I like it as an essential reminder of two things. One is, it's not our fault in a way, the reflexive, reactive way that you show up in the world that you sometimes regret. It's part of being human. It's part of our wiring. It's part of our conditioning. We're conditioned from birth. We're conditioned from our parents, our environment. And depending on your belief, I believe that we're also conditioned as we come into this world, right? We come in sort of preconditioned as humans. So it's our thoughts, our beliefs, and our ways of being in the world that come with this baggage. And we don't have to look at this baggage as a problem necessarily. It's this conditioning is here for us to work with. And the beauty of this practice, the beauty of this wisdom contemplative tradition, is it provides us the space and the opportunity to cultivate the awareness to understand our conditioning, to understand our way of being. And let's say not even understand, but to see it, to witness it, to become aware of it, to know what we're working with. The Tibetan word for meditation is gom. And what it means is getting used to, getting to know. Right? So what meditation isn't a thing. It's a way of cultivating awareness. It's a way of getting used to our being, our thoughts, our feelings, our bodies, our awareness, and the world around us. And as we cultivate our practice and we get to know ourselves and our minds and our conditioning, it's a way of getting used to softening, opening, being with, rather than resisting, rather than being against something or being unaware of a way of being. It's being with. And the more that we can soften and open and find this natural, infinite expansiveness, there's space for everything. There's space for all of the experiences. And we can see where we get hooked. And we can see where we turn away from ourselves, where we turn away from others, where we contract, where we resist. And as we continue to practice and we are able to cultivate the awareness of this infinite space around us that has room for it all, the difficulty, the anxiety, the thoughts, the sensations, things begin to soften. And there's more room for loving kindness, more room for compassion. What I love about this tradition and about this practice is that it is contemplative. It's a spiritual seeking. And it begins with seeking inside oneself, seeking to know ourselves as well as we can, seeking to uncover our innate wisdom and our innate love. I like to think of it as a practice of being a lamp unto ourselves, so that then we can then be out in the world and be a lamp unto others, be a warm, loving, grounded center of compassion. So arrive on your seat again. And let's start with becoming aware of our body, our physical body. Notice what it feels like to sit in your chair or lie on the floor or the couch, or maybe you're standing. Notice the sensations that arise. Notice the quality of your breath, the quality of your physical being. Is it open? Is it relaxed? Perhaps there are some areas that are contracted and more closed. And as you find those spaces that are more contracted, gently turn your attention to that space and bring a gentle breath to it. See if you can relax just a little more. As you see, as we are looking to cultivate an openness and an awareness, it's really difficult to do it from a closed and contracted place. When you think about things that close and contract, the lens tightens, the aperture gets smaller. But the more you can open and relax, the more space there is available to you, the more you can see, the more you can become aware of. So even in our physical body, whether it's your chest or your throat, or maybe it's your stomach, it's all part of the experience of opening to what is. Just sitting, just relaxing. like a newborn baby who's just looking around at the world, taking it all in, not doing anything with it. Huh, what's happening? What's that light? What's that sensation? An openness and a curiosity without a grasping or a clinging. Childlike wonder. As you're sitting, trying, hopefully not too hard, to just be, you may notice that your mind is connecting with appearances. The appearance of forms, of sounds, of thoughts, of feelings, and on and on. And what the mind wants to do is create a story about those things. They're good, they're bad, we want them, we don't want them. We should have them, we shouldn't have them. And we begin to make assumptions based on how things appear, how they feel, how they sound. And in this moment, in our practice, there's a very subtle opportunity. The moment that we're about to grasp, cling on to, make an assumption about, whatever is arising. There's a moment where our attention has the opportunity to see it happening and let it go. Let go of the story. Let go of the assumption. Allow it to be a fleeting sensation, a fleeting thought, a fleeting moment, like a cloud floating by in the sky. That thought, that feeling is empty just like that cloud. It's a trap. Allow it to float. Allow it to be. Don't push it away. Don't hang on to it. Don't criticize yourself for holding on to it or pushing it away. Just notice. Ah, look at that. Look at the way my mind wants to work with what is naturally arising. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't need you to do that right now. Let your intellect take a break. Begin to breathe a little deeper. Awake and aware, attentive, while also relaxed and open. This is it. Just this. We're breaking up the discursive thoughts. We're breaking up our fixed view of the world. Minroling Khandro says, our practice allows us to break up the built-up sediments of deluded perception. And the more we fixate and the more we make assumptions and the more we tell stories, the more diluted our thinking gets, the more diluted our view gets. And then all this sedimentation makes things confusing and blurry, and we lose sight of the truth as it is. And so every thought, every sound, every sight that arises, we attach to from an egoic perspective. We create delusions through our speed of reactivity. And so the mind doesn't have time to soften and to open to the wholeness, to let that sediment settle, to let what arises arise and let it settle on its own, without interfering, without judging, without assigning meaning. And over time, if we're not settling and opening and softening, it hardens us. It hardens our view. It hardens our heart. It closes us off to ourselves and to the world because we're in survival mode. We're reacting, reacting, reacting. This is right. This is wrong. This person is right. This person is wrong. And we're seeking an intense amount of comfort and safety. But in doing so, we're creating anxiety and fear. So again, this practice is a practice of being with, of getting to know ourselves, of undoing our habit of overdoing, undoing our habit of assuming. One definition of samsara is perpetual wandering, right? Perpetual wandering and reactivity. So as we seek to keep practicing being a lamp unto ourselves, meditating, praying, whatever it is that works for you, we're finding stillness so that the profound illumination, the awakening that's right there, it's so close we can't see it, has space to show itself. And we hold this mind, this intellect, who or what is so eager to protect us. We hold it with what Trungpa Rinpoche calls a cradle of loving kindness. Hold that fearful mind, hold that reactive mind with a cradle of loving kindness. Imagine, you're cradling a baby or cradling a newborn baby goat, whatever it is that lights you up. In this next short sit, I want you to cradle that fearful, reactive mind in loving awareness, gentleness, tenderness, kindness towards yourself. So sit again, readjust. A cradle of loving kindness might mean allowing yourself to stretch, allowing yourself to find a more comfortable position so that you can be, so that you can relax. Relax into your breath, relax into your body, one slow, deep breath at a time. Breathing in, fill your lungs fully, fill your heart till it can't expand anymore. And then exhale and relax. Let it all go. Breathing in, filling again. Filling your lungs, feeling your heart growing and growing, bigger and bigger as you inhale. Softening with each breath in. And then exhaling. Letting go. Releasing. As you breathe in, breathing in the loving awareness. Breathe in the loving awareness that you can sense coming from each and every person. in your field of view right now. Knowing that you can rely on their good hearts and good intentions, that you're not alone. We are here together, practicing with each other, for each other. Breathing in loving kindness and tenderness. Seeing if you can receive and where you can receive. Breathing out loving kindness and compassion. Allowing your awareness to be like a circle whose center is everywhere and circumference is nowhere. Limitless, expansive, infusing love and wisdom all around you. Allowing your true nature to show itself. Awareness aware of itself. Turning that loving awareness in on itself, in on our true nature, our Buddha nature. What does it feel like to be with this innate goodness? To lean into this innate being, our essence, our basic goodness, like the sun shining in the sky. Even on our worst days, it's always there. Our sentient being obscuring, at times, our truest essence of goodness, the truest essence of every single sentient being on this earth. Using that beam of light, using that innate expression, that innate essence, to shine the light on what is true. What can we know is true? This practice asks of us to experiment, to ask the questions. What happens if we ask those questions, if we view the world from this expansive, bright light of goodness? What can we see then? What can we see in ourselves? What can we forgive in ourselves? What can we love and hold and soften to? in order to be more of that in the world. Allowing our imperfect expression of our humanness to be just that, like the sun's reflection on the water. That reflection is not permanent. That is the impermanence of our being, our humanness. But the sun doesn't rely on the reflection. The sun is it. We are it. Sometimes we get confused. But our Buddha nature is unconfused and undiluted, perfect just as it is. We can rely on it. The more you open into the expanse of limitless awareness, more space there is for all that arises to come and go on its own, more easily, more naturally. Open and expanded. Just like the darkness of night cannot conceal the rising sun, pain and suffering that we experience cannot conceal the radiance of our natural perfection, of our truest nature. Breathing in. Allowing the natural mind, Rigpa, our intrinsically beautiful, buoyant, and free, tranquil, pure natural being. Rigpa is that which existed before we saw ourself as a self, before we perceived others, before we started to think of others as the source of our pleasure or our pain. The innate purity, awareness itself. I encourage you to take this practice out into the world today and each day with an openness and a softness and a curiosity, a willingness to be able to question, is it true? Is that thought true? Is that feeling true? What is it protecting in me? And can I soften around it just a little? In this world where there's no shortage of people, places, things to get hooked on, news headlines, natural disasters. But in a world where this practice allows us to pause, to reflect, and to be a little less reactive, a little more relaxed, a little more loving, starting with ourselves. We'll finish with a story of Hafiz, which I know I've told before. So once a woman came to Hafiz and asked, "How do we know we have come to know God?" And Hafiz became very quiet and stood in silence for a long time. And then lovingly, Hafiz looked into the young woman's eyes and said, "My dear, they have dropped the knife. The person who knows God most so often used upon their tender self as well as others." So I encourage you to drop the knife, and I commit to practicing that myself. I am hard on myself, and I know that hardness on myself can only extend to others. So the more I soften to me, the more I can soften to others. So let's close with some prayers and then see if there's any sharing. We'll do the path clearing and wish fulfilling prayer to Padmasambhava. And if those words don't work for you, you can just say to yourself, and listen to this prayer so it can remove obstacles in my day-to-day life. We'll do it once in Tibetan and once in English. Dosum Sanjay Guru Rinpoche Nudru Kundak Dewa Chen Poja Barche Kunsel Du Drak Posel Solwad Absojin Yilap Tu So Chinang Sangwei Barche Jiwadang Sampalunji Drupa Precious guide, one with all the Buddhas of the three times, blissful presence and source of all spiritual accomplishments, fierce destroyer of illusion who dispels every obstruction, we pray to you for blessing, inspiration, and realization. Please remove all outer, inner, and secret obstacles and spontaneously fulfill our aspirations. And we will close with the dedication of merit to universal enlightenment, and just in English. By the power of this meritorious practice, may the real enemies, our own projections and misdeeds, become overcome and sublime realization fully attained, so we may free beings from the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, the stormy waves of the ocean of samsara. Sending love to all of you. So much gratitude for you and your presence and your practice. So much gratitude to Lama Surya Das and all of the lineage holders for bringing this beautiful practice to us. We have just a minute for any sharing or questions. Well, may this day and this week bring you some ease. Love to you all. We'll see you next week. I'll be teaching again next week. So hope to see you there.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.